Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome everybody to the Ledger Welcome event. Please sit down, get yourself comfortable, sit in a chair, because today we're gonna have 16 beautiful, wonderful and inspiring teams that are going to tell you all about the projects that they're going to do and what they are going to do in the coming year with the funding that they have won with the Ledger project. Yes, so take a seat and strap in. Woo! All right, so just to get a quick overview of what Ledger is. Ledger is an EU project, part of Horizon 2020. This event is organized by Dyne.org. I'm Nina, I'm with Dyne, and sponsored by the municipality of Amsterdam, so thanks. Dyne is a technical partner in Ledger. Another partner is Funding Box, and finally the business partner is Blue Morpho. But first, a word from our sponsor, the municipality of Amsterdam. I'd like to give the stage to Ike van Emeren.
Thanks. It's always good to represent the city like this. So it's. I wanted to blame it on the logistical details that the Italians gave me, but on this time it was my fault. I was still in the playground and I lost track of time. Still, doesn't mean I'm not really interested in what's going on. Being introduced as a sponsor, I think it's an honor to have you here, because there are several projects we work with Dyne, with the WAG, with other partners in Amsterdam, EU-wide, on Ledger. One is a Decode project, one is NGI, Next Generation Internet. And I only have, I think, 2 points to make out. One is stretching out that all the 16 issues that will be addressed by you the next 16 months. I expect a lot from them, because we addressed one challenge as well, but it didn't pass the jury. So your ideas are better than mine. So I expect you to deliver something we can use in the end, because we filled that part. I read from the 16 initiative, at least half of them are one-on-one really important for the city. So if you need help later on today or in the next 9 months, please give us a call, because I think it's really important. The vision, the tech you're working on, important for us. Second point I want to stretch out, you guys know more about technology than I do. We do make a lot of decisions, I think, in our city hall, which are important for the ideas, the work you do. So besides this event, we need your help. So we need your ideas, vision on tech, what kind of decisions we make in City Hall. So if you have any ideas on the City of Amsterdam, what we should do, we're working on a project that's called the Digital City Agenda, on how we should cope on tech. Baseline, we know everything about pavement, everything about trees in our city. We hardly know anything about frequencies or ledger, etc. So we need to rely on you to make that kind of decisions. For the other topics, we've got people in the house. So that's, I think, an invitation to, besides the 16 so far promising initiatives, the other thing I think we could work on together is knowledge exchange. I think that's it as a sponsor thingy.
That's brilliant, thank you. Thank you, Ike. Next, I want to ask Jaromil to join me on the stage to talk a bit more about Ledger and about what we're doing with Dyne.
Cheers. Thanks, Nina. Thanks, everyone. So I'd like to call on the stage also our partners, Ermira and Thomas and Andres. Please join us on the stage. The Ledger project, it's actually quite an achievement, I think, for us, but also for the European Commission. We have set up a project that focuses on social values before profit. Now, we will help the teams to actually be sustainable, but it's not about the profit that these projects will do. Ledger is about the values that you're offering to society, what you're really improving for the people around you. and doing so, we hope you will be sustainable. So this is a great achievement, I guess, because while we are developing a lot of economical power and leadership in Europe, we often forget that data mining, data extraction, privacy violations, they can be profitable, but they are not ethical. And this is what the Decode project was about, and is about, and what the Ledger project is about, is to multiply the innovative ideas and make them really stand on their own feet in terms of success. So I'm very proud of what you will see here, and please, we want to give this stage to you, not to us. We have said enough into this Welcome Bootcamp. If you want to talk to our partners, here we are, and this is for the networking afterwards. We will leave this stage to all the teams and to Nina, who is one of the activists that joined Dyne as an activist community. I think we have worked through the years also for developing software for its impact, for making a change, for societal change, and not just for the profit. And I think Nina is the perfect host for tonight, since she is one of the co-founders of the SlepVet campaign here in the Netherlands against mass surveillance. And so I leave you to this great stage. Enjoy. You will have a lot of ideas presented here, and it's food for thought. And anyone watching that wants to engage this project, there will be another call by the end of the year. So try hard. We have a lot of applications. Our evaluators are doing very hard work, but try hard and submit your idea, because that's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, it's up to the 16 teams now. So first up, I want to ask eReuse to join me. eReuse wants to boost the reuse of electronic devices. Let's see if they will succeed.
There's an 80% of chance this smartphone will end up in a landfill, contaminating, losing its scarce materials, and damaging people. In eReuse, we envision a world where the smartphones like these do not harm people nor the environment. This is why we empower the circular economy by doing technology for refurbishers, manufacturers, sellers, to keep the life of these electronics as long as time as possible by keeping quality, ensuring that they're not lost, and ensuring final recycling. The 80% of all your smartphones will end up in here. And in fact, we're even bad at using them. We only use them the 20% of their lifetime. The rest of the time, they're just in our wardrobes. Now imagine the same fate for the more than 50 billion electronic devices worldwide. The solution is reuse. In reuse, we envision a world where electronics do not harm nor people nor the environment. And this is why we empower circular economy by producing software for repairing, reusing, and recycling electronic devices such as your smartphones or laptops. But what is reuse? We know the linear economy. We produce, we use, we throw. Recycling allows us to recover the materials by destroying the product. Reuse allows us to recover the full product, thanks for the refurbishers, which they buy deteriorated products and they top back their quality, ready for a second, third, fourth, 5 new lives. In the reuse, we offer them a software as a service so they can manage the reuse and the recovery of quality processes and ensuring that this quality is translated until the final user. But we still have a problem. How we incentivize those users to take those smartphones from their wardrobes to avoid the leakage. This is why, with Ledger, we are building a software that joins what Apple is doing, which is giving me a discount when I bring them my old iPhone when buying a new one with an open network of local refurbishers. So I get some coins when I give them my unused devices, and they get the material they need to reuse them and give them a new life. This is made thanks by blockchain, by its open traceability and open accountancy. We are in a growing market. There are more than 70,000 refurbishers refurbishing more than 800 million electronic devices per year, which brings us a potential market of 8 billion euros for these two products. So what makes us different from our competitors? Well, first, our DNA is open. We are the only ones that verify final recycling, and we are creating local markets that comply already with future regulations. That reduces the cost of our technologies and differentiates from our competitors. Thanks to this, we are the chosen technology by federations and lobbies which position our product already in 5 countries, entering in 14 new countries and having already 10 clients. Our team is made by multidisciplinary people. We have, for example, blockchain or circular economy experts. So remember we said that we only recycle the 20%. Well, thanks to our technology, already by the end of this year, we will be able, to our networks, to reuse and recycle already the 40%, reducing, for example, 570 tons of CO2, thanks that we don't have to produce as many computers as we are reusing them. So let's repair, let's reuse, let's recycle, but most importantly, let's talk later. Thank you.
Thank you, Irius. Brilliant. Next up is the Energy Commons Protocol. They want to provide players in energy with a protocol for the smart grid of prosumers.
So, hello.
Hello, elevator pitch.
Yeah, we try to solve the intercommunication problem in between the providers of energy, and that's where the ECP, Energy Commons Protocol, comes in to provide a layer of data structure, a communication protocol, and a distributed ledger for the management of intercommunication between the providers.
Hello, thanks a lot. I wanted to introduce you to the Energy Common Protocol project. We at Presume, we are a software house that we develop a blockchain solution for the energy markets. We are blockchain agnostic, let's say, and we are looking for some standardization in the energy market because there's a lack there. In between all the players all over the value chain in energy, starting from the prosumers, so this new actor that consume and produce energy at the same time, up to the supplier and up to the grid operator, so the one that have to manage the cables, as here in the Netherlands, Alliande, they used to share information using Excel files or unstructured systems, and maybe we have the solution.
Yeah, thank you, Antia. Yes, the idea is to, as you saw in the pitch before, in the elevator pitch, the idea is to provide a standardization layer where you have a data structure for energy production and consumption, a common protocol for intercommunication of this exchange of data, and a distributed ledger behind for the certification of this data. So you can have a transparent information which is shared in between the different stakeholders. And as Matthias said, in this moment, all these players are interacting to each other, and we have a new subject, a new player, which is the prosumer, and it doesn't have a real view on his data and cannot make it interact with who is providing the infrastructure and who is providing the energy. So, yeah, the ECP, Energy Common Protocol, is trying to solve that, and this is our model. So you could see, has in a microgrid where you have the different stakeholders, the DSO and TSO are the infrastructure managers, but at the same time you have communities, which are the microgrids. So bringing them to interact and communicate to each other, it's a hard task, and we think with a decentralized and distributed system we can help them. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. By the way, technical side notes, every 4 teams we will have a short break of 5 minutes in which you can all ask questions, so start preparing questions if you would like to ask them. And this is of course after an elevator pitch and a presentation. So next up will be Electraseed funds who want to accelerate access to clean energy by closing the climate finance gap.
We are building the Electraseed Fund, which is a financial platform for digital energy assets. We are unlocking hidden financial assets by digitizing clean energy projects around the world. Therefore, we are embedding an impact assessment within each and every single asset so that we increase the quality for investors and embed social and environmental impact on the project.
Electraseed funds.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, today I would like to do a little exercise with you. Try to imagine we have a blackout in Amsterdam for an entire week. So we have no electricity, we have no opportunity to communicate with our phone because we can't recharge it. So now I would like to let you imagine how it would feel like if we regain access to electricity. Today, we are living in a world where we still have 800 million people living without electricity at all. So how do we solve it? Should we promote conventional energy sources, although that we know that the resources are limited, and we know that it's the main cause for global warming? Unfortunately, we are still doing it. We are still investing 3 times as much in conventional sources that we do in renewables. What is the problem? Why is that the case? We have renewable energies all over the world, but they are small scale, they're distributed. And they don't fit the profile that investments are needed. So they don't fit in the size and as well as the profile regarding the impact that they're creating. Therefore, we are digitizing each and every individual energy asset on a global scale. We're providing a data-driven finance mechanism for digital energy assets. By developing an open source framework, we allow every clean energy developer on its own to digitize their infrastructure and therefore connecting globally and providing information which is needed for investors for their assessment. Therefore, we allow to pool these resources together to create asset sizes which are more suitable for scaling up clean energy access. The open source framework that we are developing consists out of 3 main components. The hardware, where we're implementing secure elements and therefore creating cyber-physical systems. The software stack, where we're building upon already developed open software resources, Dyne, so we're building on Sandroom. The design stack, where we're using complex system analysis, which allows us to verify not only the economic impact, but also the environmental and the social. So we are glad being a part of the Ledger program because it allows us to build first minimal viable product where we can demonstrate that finance does not have only matter about economics. Climate change is not an issue we can solve locally. It's not an issue we can solve individually. We have to collaborate and we have to promote open innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Electraseeds. Great. Okay, next up will be WorldBrain.io. They battle fake news by connecting people's web research.
What we develop is open source software for people to do better organization of their personal and collective web research. So imagine you do research around battery technologies, and instead of using Google and figuring out yourself what's quality information and not, you could search what did Elon Musk read about lithium mining, what kind of notes did he take, and you could start engaging with his notes to ask him questions about how how he understood the content that he's reading. Hello, thanks. Hi, I'm Oliver Sauter. I'm the founder of WorldBrain. Every day, we encounter hundreds of topics in our news feeds and our proactive research. And it's almost impossible to understand and research all of them well enough so you're not misinformed and eventually being polarized. But every one of us, and many people, do their part of web research every day, like journalists, academics, and scientists and students. The problem is that they generate so much valuable knowledge that can be useful to others and themselves. But their hidden iceberg of knowledge is scattered across all the applications they use and isolated there, so it cannot really be shared. So just imagine if you could build on the previous web research of the smartest people you know. For example, like in the video before explained, if you could search across all the websites Elon Musk has read for what did he read about battery technologies or lithium mining, you could see all the notes he made on those websites or the background information he found after reading those websites. With Memex, we want to solve this by developing a peer-to-peer, open source, and privacy-focused browser extension that should holistically enhance the whole life cycle of your online research. For example, taking notes, finding things again, and then sharing and collaborating with teams and communities. For example, what Memex allows you to do is to take notes and annotations on every website you see. It's a bit like a Google Doc, just for everything. Also, you can instantly find anything again that you saw in the past, every website, paper, or social media post, by just remembering single words from the article. And you don't have to do any upfront organization. Also, teams and communities can co-curate and share searchable lists of those websites, papers, notes, and annotations. We're right now at a stage of a minimum viable product. We have about 10,000 users and make a first revenue. We're a steward ownership company, so we don't sell any shares to investors and VCs. We do so that we never get into the trap of locking you into our service for the sake of growth and then violating your privacy by selling out your data. Right now, we're looking for development partners for upcoming collaboration features. So we're looking for journalistic organizations, schools and universities, and academics and researchers. When it comes to misinformation, the 2020 election cycle is going to be even crazier than the last. So help us be ready, help us getting there, help us giving people the tools to make online research faster and understand the topics that shape the future of our society deeply. Thank you very much.
Thank you, WorldBrain. It's going to be handy when the Gute 3 collapses in the Netherlands. So if anybody has any questions for the Energy Commons Protocol, e-reuse, Electricity Fund, or WorldBrain, please raise your hand and we can do a short Q&A before we move on to the next crowd. And otherwise, we can have a discussion afterwards.
Pose a question?
A question?
For Oliver here. How are you going to manage the privacy thing? How are you going to secure all the data that you collect?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously it will be a very hard challenge to secure your data once it's in your control. We think, though, that the basis of everything should be that you're in control. So all the data that Memex gathers is stored on your own devices, and it's synced peer-to-peer between your devices. So it never leaves your devices unless you share it with someone else. And yeah, that has its dangers too, but yeah, the default should be that it's in your control. If that answers the question.
If you shared... If you share them, how can you secure that other people are not going to share them with someone else? Have you thought about encryption or some login things? Or you're just trusting people because...
encryption could be one option to secure that, but in the end, if it's visible on the screen, people could always share your information like they do it right now with taking a screenshot of a tweet. But yeah, in the beginning, it's peer-to-peer anyway, so there is no central platform, and you share it with the people you want to, and this could be, for example, then encrypted.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Any other questions? I don't see other questions. Then we're going to move on to the second quarter of the 16 groups. So next up, decentralized science. They are going to recover the review of academic papers with a distributed open science publication system.
Academic publishing is broken. Publishers make a lot of profit out of the free work of the academic community, of authors and reviewers. We are ready to change this. We want to bring back control of academic publications to the academic community, giving value to authors, reviewers, and editors.
Let me start with a story. I want you to feel in the shoes of an academic researcher. 3 years ago, I received an article to review. A journal sent it to me so I could assess if it was good or not, and in fact, it was good, and it was published. 3 months ago, I had to use the same paper for my own research, but I had to ask my public university to pay 147 euros in order to access it. We believe this is unfair. Since that day, I signed a pledge not to review any article that will not be published as open access. Publishers make a lot of profit out of the free work of the academic community, of authors and reviewers. In decentralized science, we want to change this. We want to drastically reduce costs and avoid the abuses of the academic publishers. We asked for Ledger support for 3 reasons. First, because we want to provide real value to authors, reviewers, and editors. Then, because we want to advance the state-of-the-art of the research in decentralized technologies. And finally, because we want to become an important actor of the open access publishing ecosystem. We offer authors faster peer reviews, and also the possibility to rate the review reports they receive. We also allow other reviewers to rate these review reports, so reviewers can get the recognition they deserve. They can have a profile where you can see how good they are reviewing and how often they are on time. This helps us also to provide a reviewer reputation network for journal editors, where editors can find the best reviewers for the articles they receive. To propose such a system is a risk. We have to really understand how the academic community will accept it. In fact, we did some research, and we know that reviewers will only want to participate as long as they can keep anonymous, as long as authors still don't know who is reviewing their work. With blockchain technologies, we are able to offer the first system that keeps the privacy of these reviewers in mind and allows them to have a reputation system. And Ledger support will help us to develop a valuable product for all these authors, reviewers, and editors, and to find the market fit of our solution to become a sustainable key part of the open access ecosystem. We couldn't have a better team to do it. Carmen has advised hundreds of startups, and she can guide an innovative project from its inception. Elena is one of the few blockchain developers. That is one of the few female blockchain developers. And we are really happy to have her to impulse the participation of women in this space. We are all, Carmen, Elena, and I, developers, so we can give the development rhythm the project needs. And we are also strong in design. Elena can really understand the problems of the users and design solutions that really solves them. And with Tati, using these solutions becomes a really pleasant experience. In decentralized science, we want to recover the control of academic publishing and return it back to the academic community. And with Ledger's support, we will make it happen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Decentralized Science. Next up, it's Merits. Merits is going to create a currency for a more caring society.
So, Merits is a complementary currency ecosystem where whenever you help your community, you volunteer, or you donate to a non-profit, and in general, when you take care of yourself and the community, you are rewarded with a complementary currency that you can use to buy goods and services.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merits.
Good afternoon, my name is Roberto, founder of Merits.
Hello. Good afternoon, my name is Nicola Ballerini, co-founder of Merits.
So we create value-based money that we use to facilitate and reward behaviors that are positive for individuals and society. And this is Bella Milano, our very first project, funded by the municipality of Milan, where we actually helped the integration of refugees, and we also found a way to increase the cash flow of local shops. What happened? The volunteers, they were working with the official cleaning teams of the municipality, and they did a great job in the periphery of the city, that is the area that is less taken care. So then the municipality wanted to reward them, and they also needed help to make a way that the community is perceiving the volunteers as a resource and not a cost. So we suggested, let's reward them with merits, and let's give the opportunity to spend the merits in the local shops. And this is what happened. We interviewed the stakeholders, we created a platform, we found a network of shops that were accepting the merits, and then they started shopping together, with Italian volunteers helping them to interact with the local shops. And as you can see, beautiful bonds have been created, and this is integration in the daily life. And in the end of the project, the shops could redeem the merits with euros allocated by the municipality. So everybody declared to have a very deep human experience, and at the same time, very interesting business solution.
So, with the help of the Ledger project, we would like to foster our complementary growth strategies. The first one is leveraging on the experience of the first project of Bella Milano. We are already designing with the City Council of Milano the second round of the project that will take place in the winter. But we want to expand this awarding system not only to volunteering, but also to different kind of positive behaviors in society, which can be, for example, from active citizenship to positive, healthy lifestyle. We are starting to expand in Italy. We already talk with and have contacts with Council of Turin, Naples, Palermo, and so on. On the other side, we want to focus on the market. So we want to reward volunteers, donors, because donors are the fuel of the social sector. So we are offering and we are developing models in order to help enterprises and big businesses to engage with their clients and their collaborators through donations. So in this way, donors can receive merits after a donation and after a project, and then these merits can be spent on the local economy, on local businesses. So we want to increase effectiveness, efficiency, and social impact on the social sector, while offering innovative marketing solutions for businesses and new forms of engagement, both for clients and for their collaborators.
So, as you can see, we are designing currencies to create the world that we wish to see. And we are helping public administrations and non-for-profit organizations to create welfare ecosystems where businesses and citizens are actively engaged. And actually, as we all want, as Gandhi was teaching us, we are creating a world and we are becoming the change that we wish to see in the world. Thanks, everybody, and we are very happy to be here.
Thank you, Merit. Great. Next up, it is Synergy. They are going to empower cooperatives with a financial toolkit. Yes.
What was this thing, Synergy, you were talking about?
Synergy is a way we have came up in order to make the cooperation, the social solidarity economy bigger in Greece and elsewhere.
Oh, and but how does it work?
We will create a toolkit designed specifically for co-ops, but we'll have all the financial services they need.
Okay, so who is it for?
It's for the cooperatives. The cooperatives have played a crucial role in the Greek society during the years of the crisis, and it's really important for us to help them grow and contribute to their needs, I think.
So this was quite embarrassing. I will start now. Hello, I'm Antonis. I'm really happy to be here with the rest of our team. It's really important to have this place and this program for us, and I'm going to explain you a little bit of why is it important. In the beginning, I want to have the shortest possible problem description that you are going to hear today. It's only 2 words. It's Greece and crisis. Those things go together during the last year. So let's not lose hope, though, because during the last years we have seen signs of hope and alternatives. People started creating co-ops and as an answer to the crisis, and these co-ops led to many jobs, to more better working conditions, and to a greater social impact. But right now we are at a point that these co-ops face growth barriers, such as lack of funding mechanisms and also liquidity problems. It is really important for them to be able to access both capital and business advice. So with the help of Ledger, we are going to create Synergy. What is Synergy, you may ask? Okay. Synergy is a financial toolkit aiming to provide solutions to these problems. We are going to provide the initial services in order to grow the market base of the cooperatives that are loyalty systems, microfunding, and community transactions. Our goal is to empower the co-ops and promote community-based governance. The end game of Synergy is to create multiple and self-sustainable communities that can empower and sustain themselves. So how are we going to do this? In terms of technology, we are going to create a distributed ledger running on Quorum, and also we are going to create digital wallets for both the audience and the participants, meaning the cooperatives. Also, we are going to incorporate privacy by design elements, and it's really important from our part, being a co-op ourselves, to have a great participant experience. This means that we will focus in a participant-friendly web platform campaign, and we also focus on making it accessible with carbon-made membership card for the audience to use Synergy. Also, during our interaction with the audience and the participants, we want to give them data ownership, and we will use privacy awareness analytics tools. We are going to run on a methodology of co-design. We are going to have community workshops and one-to-one seminars in order to get the community involved from the beginning of the project. Through various gamification techniques, we are going to impulse the user to participate in Synergy and try to co-design it and learn from it. A great advantage that we have is that we already have an extensive mapping of the community in Athens. This is why we will try it there, and we will try to gather all the best practices and ideas we can gather. Other important things that we are going to implement are marketing campaigns, so we can use them as on-board mechanism, and we also would like to have multidisciplinary evaluation, because let's face it, distributed ledger or blockchains are not the easiest thing to use or to have it on a mass scale. Our team, who is going to do all this? Not only me, of course. So we are members of Sociality. We are a 7-member digital co-op, one of the first in Athens, and we have with us today George, who is a blockchain expert, and in our team also we have Martina, who is a researcher in Athens University of Business and Economics. The end game of Synergy is that in 9 months from now, we are going to create a low-cost running toolkit that can be viable through community funding and tokenization. We would like to see services used as a common and promoted as such. In the end, we would like to create new self-sustainable and self-governed communities. We would like, with Synergy, to make a step towards cooperation in the service of society. Thank you, and let's talk later.
Brilliant, thank you. Now we are moving on to Unified Science. They will enhance the academic collaboration with different kinds of frameworks. Unified Science.
So my name is Tuukka, I'm from Unified Science, and we are an academic collaboration platform. We give the control of the personal data and the IPR to the academics and the institutions that they represent. We have 5,000 users currently, and we're having 20,000 by end of this year. Now our communities want to have a local economy model to boost the incentivization of the participants, but they want to see that architecture decentralized instead of centralized as we currently have.
Brilliant. So we are a Helsinki-based startup collaborating together with Aalto University. There's my team. And I'm happy to be here in Amsterdam on stage sporting the official wear of today, fully now endorsed by the City of Amsterdam officials themselves. Thank you so much for wearing that shirt. So, brilliant. We are solving a problem in the scientific community about the great sense of injustice on how value is created by the scientific community and how it's being captured by few dominant academic publishing journals which exist today as if the internet had never been invented. So it's a tricky problem, and we are not the first ones to try to solve it. If we look at the landscape, there are many attempts to crack this thing, but the attempts are always based on the same centralized model, and the outcome from a centralized model is naturally always the end up being another monopoly, yet another publishing journal, yet another dominant player in the scene. So is the challenge worth solving? Yes, it is. Financially, obviously, it's a multi-billion business, but also from the societal perspective, from the human perspective, how the science is being done and how the scientific value is being created, that's a human question also. And we are happy to try to solve it. But not as a single service, not as a single platform, but as a framework of how things should be done, as a framework of design of reference, that how it could be set up in a way that it's decentralized instead of centralized. And it's kind of like a tricky thing to think, but let's consider that you are an academic and you collaborate with different universities and institutions and different academies all over the world. You might be contributing to one ecosystem there, another ecosystem there, and yet another ecosystem there. And you would be only one to hold the full, complete record of your things that you have contributed. And you would be in control of your academic score, if you would, instead of one single centralized body reducing your entire career to single-digit value of good or bad. So that's the challenge we are solving. So where we are now, we have been doing a lot of work on the user experience on how to endorse the scientific collaboration. And the next, what we are wanting to do is to adopt the model of local economy to produce an incentivization model for better and enhanced collaboration. And it goes together with the business model, which is a tricky one. So it's not a trivial one, it's a very deep question of how do we create value in the next generation of the internet. That's why we are collaborating with Aalto University, with top researchers on platform economies and local economies and complementary economies to see that if these models could be applied to solve this problem. And our team, top team, we have been in the digital industry before the digital industry, since the 80s and the 90s. So we have seen how the internet was before that it became what it is today. And we'd be happy to be moving the next stage, the future internet, forward with this initiative. My name is Tuukka. I'm representing Unified Science. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Unified Science. We are now halfway, and I think it is time for another Q&A. So I'd love to hear if anybody of you has a question. Please raise your hands. Yes, I see your question.
Hi there. I have two. One is for our colleagues at Decentralized Science, and the other one is for the Merits team.
Please come on stage, Unified Science and Merits would be great.
Decentralized.
Decentralized, sorry.
The other. No, I mean, well, okay, I mean, here the questions are if you try to synthesize in 1 score per reviewer, people who tend to be aggressive giving reviews and people who tend to be lenient giving reviews, isn't there a danger that in a single combination, the people that are gentle and lenient get artificially higher scores than those that are harsher reviewers?
So thank you for the question. It's really interesting. And actually, we don't know. We haven't researched what the viewers want as something to show how to show how good the reviews are. Probably it should include many aspects, and we have to know which are the more relevant aspects. And probably reducing all to 5-star system is an oversimplification. Thanks for your question, because it's something we really have to look at and understand really good.
So, and the question for the merits team is, how do you set the exchange rate between the currency and euro?
So actually there is no exchange rate. It's a closed model. It's open entrance model, but closed model. So when you have the merits, usually you don't exchange with euros. In this case, we did something because the municipality was not ready to do a more advanced complementary currency model. But our basic model is that when you get the merits, they stay in the network community. And if you exchange, it's one-on-one. In the cases where you exchange, it's over €1, 1 merits. Otherwise, the Bank of Europe is chasing us. So I want that.
And for merits, so just to keep you on stage, it's a dangerous question because you come from the north of Italy, which I happen to know by being a foreigner from the south, and you have a thing called Lega Nord, which really wants to separate, and we have as Italian carrying Italian passports. Interior minister who is like a really loud populist, is violating several laws and basically keeping people away from surviving even on the south coast. How do you see this impacting really this political situation? Because you are potentially dangerous in a potentially dangerous water, and I see you are aligning very much with the municipalities. What will be the relationship? How do you articulate the political relationship to the central government in this phase?
So actually it's very funny because the money that has been used for the pilot project is from the Ministry of Interior. So when we were going around saying that we were doing this, people would say, if Salvini knows that you are doing that with his money, he will lose all the hairs. So it's very, very tricky. Actually, what we try to do is never build something against somebody. Our approach is to build something for somebody and with somebody. And of course, some people will try to stop us, but we are sure that there is plenty of people in every field and everywhere that wants to build something better, not against somebody. So these are the people we are going to work, and if they somehow will stop us, okay, we are like water. We move like water. So we go around, we go up, we go below. And I also think that all this anger that is now somehow dominating or taking a lot of space in our people, in many people, anger is like fire. And it's not going to be a wildfire. It will go down, but we need to give some space because it's basically, I will close. This is a huge question. Actually, we think that merits is a cultural, it's culture. It's technology, it's economy, but basically it's a cultural adventure. So we are contributing to generate or to nurture a specific kind of culture and the vision of the world. And of course, there are people that don't have the same vision, but this will be always there.
Fantastic lesson for the hackers. Be like water. You quoted Gandhi and Bruce Lee on the same stage. That's priceless.
I guess you're really disruptive if you piss off a government, right? I saw a question over there. Yeah. Jaromir, can you?
Sorry. Actually, I have a question for the same team, so please go back on stage again.
The same as merits, or?
Yeah.
You will get fit.
I was wondering if it's a closed system and you build up a sort of a alternative currency, how?
I cannot properly hear.
Okay. If you are making a closed system as a sort of a alternative currency, how will the tax regulators looking into your initiative?
You want to?
You're very good on stage, so please.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks at all. So I think I will call my lawyer to have. Basically, it really depends. Actually, merits it's a suite of services, and it's really different depending on the services that we are giving to the community. So, for example, in Milano there is no taxes connected because it's just a voucher. It's a multi-purpose voucher in terms of legal and tax things. When we apply a model that is more like a complementary currency, and merits is not meant to be an alternative currency, so the euro is good for some things, so let's use it. But for other things, some currency design in a different way can be more efficient. So in that case, for example, you have, of course, to take the record of the transaction and the VAT. If it's commercial purpose, the VAT will have to be paid in euros. So there are always good ways, and we were discussing with the guys from Aalto University. They are very advanced in that also. When we want to do things properly, there is always a way. Of course, we are not creating something to run away from taxes. This is for sure. Taxes are very precious.
Just from a theoretical point of view, complementary currency can't go for 100% of the purchasing because there are these kind of costs, for example, the VAT, or your energy provider or whatever. You will need to have some euros entering. So this is why they're called complementary currencies. We don't want to destroy euro or other fiat currencies, but we just want to use the right tool for the right performance. So if you need to pay your local butcher, let's say, you are not buying financial on the derivative markets. So money has different kind of use, and we need different tools to perform them and to be more efficient.
But you can pay local taxes. This you can do with merits in maybe 1 year. Okay, thanks.
Great.
Quickly, just to clarify that in Aalto University we are researching with you guys completely legal ways that we are not evading taxes. I just wanted to clarify that we are not trying to evade taxes, no. But the thing is that we're trying to redefine what it means to pay tax in full collaboration with the for example, Helsinki and perhaps in the future Milan administrators and also the state regulators. So let me emphasize, everything must be legal. Everything must have full institutional support from the European Union. If we need to change something, they are happy to actually, for all kinds of suggestions. So tax must be paid, otherwise we wouldn't have this meeting here. That's my point.
We are on the bleeding edge of innovation here, huh?
I see a question there, or?
There's a question coming from the internet. So it's ridiculous. It's for Oliver and WorldBrain. Internet is slow here. So
they're coming.
Could the last project elaborate on the stewardship owner module? And the other one, how does WorldBrain make money?
By selling your soul. No. So the steward ownership model in comparison to regular investments is that if you sell shares in a company, what happens is that your investors only make money if the company's value increases. And value increase happens if the company grows by multiple metrics like users, revenue, profits. And this obviously sets a company on path to monopolization because there's unlimited growth that you can make. With the steward ownership model, it's more that you, like in practice, it's like a loan with very high interests, meaning we sell shares to investors that are non-tradable and that we buy back with the profits we're making over time. And we, for example, give then our early investors a higher multiplier than our later investors, and this means there's a cap on how much an investor can get back at some point. And the whole company is focused on actually providing a service, because only with service you can make revenue and profits, and in the end you're not there to just grow. The way we make money is a bit like WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So everything that we build is open source, and you can either self-host that syncing, the peer-to-peer syncing and collaboration servers, or we host it for you in a very boring SaaS model where you pay us a couple bucks per month.
Thank you. Any more coming from the internet or AFK? Yes, okay, we are going to move on. We can always discuss afterwards a bit more. We've got all the time for that. So, on next, it's Heimdall. It will let users take back their private data with a private by design cloud alternative. Heimdall.
Heimdall is a way of fighting against surveillance capitalism. It is an alternative to the current service providers that we have, and it's a physical device that users will have in their homes, which will provide them with calendar, email, storage, or any kind of services that they can ask from a decentralized marketplace that is powered by free software and also is auditable. Own your data, be free. Thank you.
Thank you. So you just have seen Sofia. I'm Santiago from the Heimdall team. We have been increasingly worrying about privacy for the last decade, right? What's the problem? We now live in the world of the free of charge generation, right? Most of the services that we use online are free of charge, and we don't actually see the value of paying for some of these services instead of others that are sort of free. But are they free? In fact, what they are doing is, they are trying to make money from mining your data. Not yours particularly, that's not very valuable, but when you aggregate the data of a whole society, that makes the whole point. And that's why you have seen this kind of headlines on the news lately. We believe, as all of this room does, that the next generation internet cannot be based on invading users' privacy. Instead, privacy by design products and services should be created that maybe should just be paid off with money. And that's how Heimdall's business model is built. We want to create a device thought for users to take back their private data without compromising usability, and also having accessibility for many people. The idea is that this device will be exclusively powered by free software, so that they can, the users can have email, calendar, storage, and other services provided by a platform that is completely auditable. And that all these apps can come from a decentralized peer-to-peer marketplace, so that not even us know which apps are installed by users. And also, these apps, we will want to give back to the communities that are building these apps based on how energy efficient they are, so that we emphasize better energy consumption. The reusability potential of this initiative is, we think, is huge. In one side, we have the platform, so the platform can itself be reused by some of the projects, and they can be built on here, but also for the research and standalone bits that we will want to build. In particular, for example, the remote support that we want to have, so that we will not want to access data while giving you support. This is the Heimdall team. We have been working on many of these communities and some others, and we have known each other for a long time. So we want to expand on our experience with privacy to build this device for all of us. Own your data, be free. Thank you.
Thank you, Heimdall. Great. We're moving on to I Give To. I Give To motivates self-care with a community-based platform.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people suffers from a chronic disease? I'm Flavia, the project lead of I Give To, and together with our amazing team, we are building a community-based platform that motivates self-care to better prevent and manage chronic diseases. We bring together patients, their families, and the local community to improve health outcomes by combining shared health goals with real-time monitoring through wearables. Hi, I'm Flavia, and with I Give To, we are decentralizing healthcare to better manage and prevent chronic diseases. Chronic diseases are the #1 cause of death worldwide, although 80% could be prevented by lifestyle changes. Studies have shown that the #1 factor to motivate you to live healthier is actually your friends, family, and local community. So how exactly does our community platform work? Let's look at family Miller, for example. This is Tom. He suffers from hypertension. And additionally to him having to monitor his blood pressure and taking his medicine, he would also really benefit from being more active and eating healthy. His wife, Anna, she really cares about her husband's health. So together they create a community where they set their goal to together walk 20,000 steps each day for 30 days in a row. If they achieve their goal, they set themselves the reward that they go for a romantic dinner. We also add wearables to help them track their progress. Our users are always in full control of their data and can also decide to help advance research. So this is Tom. He just started a study about hypertension, and Adam actually opted in to share his data with the research community to advance hypertension. And Tom can also use our platform to bring his own participants, so he has a secure way to transmit and gather data from his own study participants. Additionally, local communities can also participate by setting health challenges for their communities and citizens. So for example, they say if you bike to work the next 30 days, you will get a discount in your local gym. So to sum it up, I Give To really brings together patients, their families, communities with researchers and real-world data. We are a great team, very diverse and international, with experiences from digital health, technology, and design. And with the help of the experts from Ledger, we can build a secure platform that helps people to lead healthier and happier lives. Thank you.
Thank you, I Give To. Great. We're moving on to Project Ayur. They will create an entirely community-owned knowledge validation engine.
At Iris AI, we're building the world's first AI science assistant. To succeed at that, we need critical input from a knowledge validation engine. The knowledge validation engine that we will build as Project Ayur, being part of Ledger, is a critical element in producing machine-assisted knowledge validation. We hope to achieve that, helped by the project managers and all our peers in the program. At Iris AI, as I said in the video, we are building the world's first AI science assistant. That's our mission, that's the overall goal we're working towards. When we look at the world of science today, we see many problems with it. To date, since we started our journey in 2015, we have focused on 2 of them, the information overload and the built-in biases problem. We have released 5 full versions of our software, and through peer-reviewed research, we've been able to document that users of our products, when they do knowledge, search for knowledge knowledge extraction, searching for knowledge discovery, I guess is the right heading. They achieve an 80% time reduction, a substantial improvement in the interdisciplinarity of the results they obtain, and 30% fewer misses. But that doesn't do anything to achieve the issues to do with reproducibility, the misaligned incentives, and the access, the barriers to access that we still encounter in science. The solution we propose is implementing Project IRE. IRE is an entirely community-owned and community-governed knowledge validation engine that comes with a new incentive model and is associated to a repository of validated knowledge. Zooming into what that means, it's all about machine-assisted knowledge validation. As a user, you input a scientific research document, and the machine extracts the hypotheses and mines the arguments from that document. With those arguments, we can actually build a truth tree of that document, what we call a truth tree of that document that basically relates the elements in that input paper to corroborating evidence or contradicting evidence gathered from the full corpus of knowledge that the machine has been able to read. Over the full project timeline of 4 years, we're aiming to generate pairings of input documents and final reports, validity reports that bring the best of the machine capabilities and the human capabilities in assessing how reproducible is this piece of research. Now, focusing short term on the Ledger program and what we'll be able to build over the next 6 months, we are targeting placing the focus on knowledge dependency. This is a prerequisite to being able to build the truth trees that I talked about before, in that it establishes the connections without determining the direction in which that connection goes. In terms of this, the leveraging of distributed ledger technologies, we're looking to those to achieve 2 things. Firstly, the storage of the information, of the pairing between the inputs and the outputs, where they have critical value. And secondly, to, via the use of smart contracts, regulate how valuable contributions are recognized and value is distributed throughout the ecosystem. We believe that once we have the system in place, the IRE knowledge validation engine, we will achieve 2 really important goals. Firstly, that we will have a machine that will enable how we collectively advance science in a better way with better quality results. And secondly, how the value that is obtained by some of the reusers of this invaluable body of knowledge, like the industrial players, is actually distributed back to the people who are actually at the center of creating this invaluable body of knowledge, the authors, the reviewers, etc. And since we have the representative from the Amsterdam municipality here with us today, it's not really a municipal issue, but any political help that we can get on a European level to push the current publishing industry towards greater openness and greater collaboration to bring down some of those 19th century style barriers, that would be most welcome. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, really interesting. Next up, it's House Co-op. House Co-op is going to tackle Europe's housing crisis by helping housing co-ops to set up.
We are House Co-op, and we are building a way to make living in the city accessible for everyone. How do we do this? So there's a housing crisis in Europe. We need to make housing radically more affordable. We do it through cooperatives. We use software to make cooperatives happen. We help with equity, governance, and compliance. We can do it for you, or you can download the software for free for yourself and do it.
Thanks. So my name is Marcel and I'm part of the team of House Co-op. Europe is facing a housing crisis. In the urban centers, the economic centers of Europe, housing gets more and more affordable. Over 24 million households, that's more than 10% of all households in Europe, are spending more than 40% of their disposable income on housing alone. And it's only getting worse. This was an article from the Financial Times last week saying that including Amsterdam, much of the European cities are becoming non-inclusive places to live. And there is a solution. We try to come up with solutions, and apparently there was already a solution that have existed for over 100 years. The housing cooperative. But there is a problem. These cooperatives are not mainstream. Like a cooperative is a manner in which you collaborate with the tenants to finance and maintain your own dwelling, for those that don't know it. But it's not mainstream. We don't see it often enough. And why? Why is that? Because founding a housing cooperative is hard. It requires knowledge and skills and time. It's hard to get the funding together. It's hard to form a professional group of people that can work together like an organization and can engage with banks. And also you have to compete in the real estate market, which is an incredibly crowded and money-driven market. Some even describe it like a part-time job. So that's where House Co-op comes in. So what we want to do is we want to help aspiring co-op members to become a professional organization. We want to help cities, and I'm looking at you, Amsterdam. Yeah. to incentivize the development of a more inclusive housing stock. And we also want to help financiers, like banks or investors or credit unions, to engage with cooperatives in a cohesive manner. What we're doing is building a suite of building blocks, of tiny pieces of software that you can configure and utilize for your purpose. It helps with legal and finance, it helps with managing equity, and it helps with engaging with cities and other governance that's relevant for your cooperative. And we all use it on the digital ledger as a backbone to make sure that we're building something that might outlast our little venture and will live on into the future. Our mission is to help resolve the housing crisis. Help households build equity. Give access to opportunity to more people by allowing more people from all income classes, from all backgrounds, to live in those cities where there is economic opportunities and where there's upward social mobility. And promote diversity, to make sure that people from all the backgrounds can be part of this city where there's economic growth and benefit from it. So we're a team of passionate change makers that come from various backgrounds, not necessarily from the real estate background, but we have put together an amazing advisory board that can fill in all the knowledge gaps we have and that come from various backgrounds, including the hardcore project development and investment background. So our mission is together to retake the city. And I'm looking at you, Amsterdam, because there's an urgent job for you to do this. I already sent you a LinkedIn request. Thank you.
Thank you, House Co-op. I personally really hope this works out because I was like, yeah, I'll move back to Amsterdam. I've been sleeping on a French couch in like a student room of 20 square meters for the last 3 months. So please make this work. We are now in the area of the Q&A again. Does anybody have a question for the past 4 groups? I see a question there.
Hi. So for project Heimdal. So how are you going to deal with the availability?
That's a good question. We have several strategies, but we have not yet decided on one. But it's essentially kind of the same thing as if your device burns down in your house, or if the internet goes down. So we want to have a backup system in place so that you can recover from that. We could make that backup system go in a way that you could spawn it somewhere else. But there are some trade-offs on that, and we want to discuss that internally before we have a final decision on that. But thank you for your question. Sorry for not answering completely.
We can talk later.
It's typical hacker talk. Okay, another question.
Check. Well, looking at you, what do you need? I went from blue to this, so this is step one. But what do you need from a city? Because the idea is there, the concept is there. What's your problem?
Okay. Oh, yeah. So what we want to do is, so we see that there's a need of people that express a need for affordable housing, and there's kind of like a push from society bottom up. So what we want to work on together is to create an opportunity and a space and a pool to facilitate for you as a city to have these groups engage with the city, hopefully through our software, through our platform, to find real estate that they can develop, to help them engage with financiers. With maybe the city can work with the cooperatives to kind of engage with banks. So it's we're looking for a pilot city that wants to help the first couple of communities to do this. I know already like De Warre and other initiatives in Amsterdam are doing this quite successfully, and we're trying to make this a more fluid and a lower threshold process. So let's figure it out together how we can make this happen faster.
Check. If we focus on the people with low income, if that's the first project, we're in.
Okay, lower middle income. We're not talking about the people that can sell their place for 600K and then look for something cool to live. No, we're looking at the teachers, the police agents. We look at the baristas of your city, the wonderful hackers that are not focusing on creating the next unicorn, but doing societal benefit.
If you can make it more specific on what you need from me, if you can help me stay 50 teachers in the city center of Amsterdam, we've got a deal. I'll help you with what you need.
Good. Let's talk. Awesome.
Woo. Cool. There is something getting done here, really. Just one suggestion, don't use LinkedIn, use beer.
Does anybody else have a question? Because, no. I might have a question for Project Ayur, because I was actually discussing your idea with some people in a bar yesterday, and they had a question, and I promised them that I would ask you.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I might as well do it now. And they asked, how do you formalize knowledge? Like, how did you do the formalization of your knowledge?
I could give you the answer, but it's going to be a substitute to what my colleague and CTO can give you. So I give the mic to Victor.
All right, so yeah, I mean, this is more of a philosophical question, I would say. Basically, for us, for the system, like the knowledge validation engine, the way we formulate knowledge is all sorts of scientific documents, patents, and also technical reports. So things that are tied directly to actually already done experiments. From there on, like the system will build those trees of documents or claims in the documents and so forth. But we're not trying here to formalize kind of a philosophical statement of what knowledge is. We kind of trust that the people that actually did those experiments, they generated some value from those experiments. And the idea is also that this system works together with humans to kind of review this and confirm that this is a valuable knowledge for the society, for the community, and for the industry that is actually going to use that later on to produce new products and yeah, solve humanity's problems, let's say.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
I told them that. There is a question in the back.
Coming.
To the hello. Thank you for the presentations. I have a question to the housing project. Where do you see the pool of margin or efficiency that you intend to use more efficiently? Like, why your approach and effort, yeah, it's more efficient than traditional one, than conventional one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is quite a complicated question, and we're really literally crunching numbers on this to find where the margins are. So there might be a couple of opportunities where we might tap into the difference between land and construction costs or conversion costs versus the real estate value. That might be an opportunity. Other things are we look at the typical return on investment on real estate in the Netherlands. For investors, they kind of aim for a 6.5% return on investment. We think if we engage with investors that are willing to maybe drop to like a 3.5%, you can actually win a lot in the financing costs, as you don't have the hypotheekrenteaftrek in this particular situation. There might be other efficiencies that we can have in the operations of a cooperative, where people maybe share some resources or have a smart way of allocating the one single community lawnmower. But there are different aspects that we're looking at to obtain these efficiencies. If you look historically at data, cooperatives tend to operate at a 20% cheaper rate than commercial comparable real estate, but you have to look into where the trade-offs are. So this is one of our things that we're looking into for our consideration. If you have any knowledge on this to help us, I would be very happy to talk.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, then we are going to move on to the last batch of teams. First up, there is One Health. One Health will empower patients to own and protect their wearable health data.
One Health is the project that we are developing in order to free wearables health data. What we intend to do is to democratize the access to your health data, so whenever you have a wearable, an app for health, and you want to migrate to another one, you can carry on your data with you, encrypted and protected, and you can benefit from it whenever you want and however you want. That is One Health. Thank you.
One Health.
Thank you. Hello, so I am Irene, I'm working at Europe Creative, and we're going to present the project One Health. So first we start by going through a common situation. Maybe you're a very active person, you take care of your health, you monitor your activity, and you do this for months, maybe even years, and then one day you have a problem, your old wearable device breaks, or you want to change to a wearable from a different company, or you just use lots of different options and you just want the data gathered in the same place. Something happens to your phone. What happens to your data? So you have currently no way to control the ownership or transfer of data between providers. And starting from this, Roberto, the CEO of Europe, is going to present our project.
Thank you, Rihanna. So this is One Health, the project aiming at liberalizing and democratizing your health data. So we are Euro Creative, we are SME, and we are active in the area of health. We develop technologies for health, and we have one product that was the origin of One Health, that's in City Together. We are a team of 8 people in total. 4 of us, we are active in the area of fundraising, we take care of business development, market research, and the other 4 of us, we do the software development, the coding, and the user experience design. And with this, we have developed our product in City Together. That is where we realized of the need of One Health. So we have been working in this product, we put it in the market, and here what we provide the users is the ability to keep their health data and also to receive personalized nutrition recommendations. But then we realized that this was not enough. We needed to make possible for the user to go to the doctor, to any other provider with their health data, and also for other users to come to us. And for this, the real need is, okay, we have a real wealth of health data that is being generated by wearables, by app devices, and currently this is kept isolated. It is only propriety of the manufacturers of these devices. You cannot move your data with you when you move to a different provider. But the wellness of this data, this liberalization, is huge. I mean, if you can move with your data, if you can go to a doctor with your health data, if you can build on your data from one device to another, you can benefit greatly from this. And for this, the project One Health is built on 3 different key technologies. The first one is homogenizing the health data, so we have a common structure for health data from any device, any wearable. The second pillar is to encrypt your data. And for this, we're using the Ledger technologies that they have been taught in this couple of days. And the third leg of the technology, it is the distributed ledger technology. And this will allow us to make your data, your health data, available anywhere, anyhow. So you can see here more or less the high-level architecture of the data flow. So your health data is first generated in a wearable, in a health app. Then it is transferred to a block, a server, where it is encrypted. It is added to the distributed ledger technology, and then lately to the distributed ledger network.
And just to finalize with the impact and potential, so One Health will empower patients and users by giving them control over their own and property over their own data for multiple devices in the same place. It will be open source for all the software elements so that it can be used, improved by the community. And overall, it works towards a more overall personalized medicine system for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, it is Consento. Consento will provide data privacy with human trust.
Hello. Consento is a new way to protect and store your private data. You don't need passwords. You can simply unlock it with the help of a friend. It's a human method to store your private data and share it and keep it. Better than any paper books, better than any online service. It's peer-to-peer, it's distributed, and you can keep it forever. It's much safer than anything that is out there, and it's very human to use.
Why not? If you wait a second, we find it.
I have it memorized.
We can do the intermezzo music dance improvisation.
I think it happened something with sharing, secret sharing. So it's split into 3 parts, and they are trying to recompose it using Consento. So I
didn't give you access to it, did I?
Yeah.
I didn't consent.
Yeah, I think he's cracking it.
Crack it, please. Does it work? I hope.
We found it.
Yep. Woo! Thank you. I'm sorry, Elena. We should have done better. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, welcome in a fantastic concept we have in Dyne.org, the economy of guilt.
Yeah.
So, you also have an asset now.
Let's see. You have to look at me in the meantime. How
did you like the evening? I think it went pretty well. It's going smooth.
I wish I would have seen more of it, like from the backside, not too much visible. Today a lot of projects are here that might benefit from us. If I had the slides, I could explain it better, but all the projects that presented here today at their core provide important services, but they don't provide a lot, but they are building on all the technology that we want to make obsolete.
You're almost better without slides at selling your product.
Yeah, wonderful. So maybe we can help all those other things. So, getting to the mood.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Good. Consento is about private data, and it's a new approach how to deal with it. Now, when I say private data, I mean really private data, things that you ordinarily would not consider putting on a digital device. Let's look at it by an example. Say a doctor wants to send X-rays or medical results to a patient. He could use the cloud, he could trust them, but if you have read the newspaper, it's not something that is that reliable as they claim it is. Now, if they would do it by themselves, sure. They have a variety of technology available how to do this. But when they use it, we found out that they behave like squirrels. They hide their private data at various places and they hope they can find it again when they need it. This leaves them with an emotion of hopelessness and wondering what they should do about it. And in the internet, you might assume that they will find answers to this, but at the end, they're alone, like with so many other things. Now, what if we could do this differently? What if we could unlock the private data together with another person? This is using human trust, an element currently in the internet completely unused, untapped. And we want to build Consento on top of that. Consento is 3 things. It's an open system that you can use. It's a free and open mobile app that you can use to try, and it's a B2B business. When you use Consento, you do not need to deal with passwords anymore. As you're using it with other people, you have always someone you can talk to about it. And it doesn't involve any big tech. It's peer-to-peer, it's distributed. No need for servers. This is a prototype that we tested with people. If you want to unlock your data, a notification will pop up that says, do you want to give access, yes or no? When we tried this with people, we asked them if they would use it, and they said yes. But it left out one big problem, which is the other person. You know, you trust them, but maybe you don't want to bother them because, you know, it's another person, has a different life. It might also be that they're simply not available, doing other things, or having other troubles. This opens up a business opportunity for people in the world, which is that they could become a trustee, a person that is reliable, that is available. Now, this trustee, what technology would he use? If he would just use the regular app, that might be too not enough. So here's where Consento as a business partner comes in. We are providing a better software for trustees, for professionals, that they can run their business. And since it's based on an open system, any company could join and help us create a distributed ecosystem for private data. Now I need to say thank you to the next generation internet. We are a team of professionals that would never have been able to dedicate that much time on such a revolutionary idea. One last thing. We created business cards extra for this event. On the back side, we have a small secret. Come talk with us and uncover what it's about. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can't wait for someone to slide into my Consento. Okay, next one up. Food data market. Food data market will enhance transparency of ingredient origins for a sustainable food production.
From Origin Trail, and we are increasing transparency in food supply chains so that you, when you buy a yogurt, for example, know where the food is coming from. And at the same time, we help farmers to get reimbursed for the information and the data they share with consumers.
Hello. All right, I believe it's pretty obvious it's about food. And today, when I was trying this shirt, I saw that it doesn't fit as much as it did previously. Actually came from China, and you know, food there is really, really good. And there is also one thing about China. Not sure how many of you are familiar with the term gutter oil. So it's cool, or not cool. Hopefully, it didn't get burned. So basically, 1/10 of oil that is meant for frying is coming from sewers in China. And that's a circular economy you really don't want to see, right? So how about Europe? So this is the recent statistics conducted by the Food and Beverage Lockdown Research, which shows that almost 1/3 of executives at food manufacturing companies is unable to guarantee the authenticity of ingredients. And that's UK, which is kind of part of EU still. Hopefully it will remain. But the situation is quite concerning when it comes to food. So back in 2013, we decided to launch a company myself and the two of my co-founders. And since then, we have been experimenting with several tactics of how to improve transparency in supply chains. So basically, we started off as a centralized solution connecting to ERP systems of manufacturers, which then allowed every basically consumer to scan a product's barcode and then input the expiry date and then see where exactly ingredients are coming from. It was a very simple system, but the problem remained since consumers and the industry kept asking us, how can we trust the the data that you're providing and portraying to us? Enter blockchain and of course Ledger afterwards. We saw that it makes a lot of sense to be more inclusive when it comes to sharing and exchanging data. Therefore, the system is becoming more and more inclusive, involving peer-to-peer technologies such as blockchain, in order to improve the sustainability of food production, which is very much important for plenty of reasons. When you look at today's food supply chains, which are very much broken, farmers aren't getting enough as a reimbursement for what they do. And you, as a consumers, oftentimes don't even know where the food is coming from, which is a pretty bad thing. Last but not least, when it comes to exchanging data in supply chains, it's most often the central part, the intermediaries, which are getting the most out of the exchange of data. And this is something that we would like to change, and that's why we have started collaborating with Ledger in order to improve data exchanges in supply chains. Now, what we are doing here is leveraging the open source technology that we already developed, using also some other components, and the red part that you see here is going to be developed in the middle of this project. Now, without going into boring details of the technology, which is, by the way, very much exciting, but we don't have time about it, to tell more about it. The main point here being that also farmers, so the beginnings of the supply chains, and consumers can actually collaborate amongst each other without, getting through a very, very complex network of intermediaries in the supply chains. Now, why is that important? When a farmer shows where exactly food is coming from, and when a farmer actually lets consumer to see more information about the production of food, such as certificates, some IoT data, the farmer may be reimbursed by the consumer. So how we aim to scale up? We are part of several European projects already. We are basically we have expanded our network of partners throughout the globe, and these are just a couple of them in Singapore and in China, Walmart China. This is the founding team, although we're very much stronger than this. These are just the two of my co-founders. We have been involved in several initiatives from across the globe, from China, South America, and a little bit less South America, Texas. All right, it's really, really fun to be here, and I would like to encourage all the participants here to take a look at the technology that's already being built, and who knows, perhaps we can collaborate tomorrow in order to increase transparency in food supply chains. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Food Data Markets. We have arrived at the final but not least presentation, which will be given by Cobox. And Cobox will help you regain privacy and data control with a distributed cooperative cloud. So.
We all know about surveillance. We all know about the loss of our data sovereignty, but we all keep using the corporate cloud. Imagine if we could create a distributed, cooperative cloud.
Cobox combines the benefits of the corporate cloud with the principles and practices of the cooperative movement.
Together, we can create a distributed, cooperative cloud. So we all know about surveillance. We're all aware of the loss of our data sovereignty. We all know that most of our data, whether stored in our shared Google Docs, our online calendars, or our free email accounts, no longer belongs to us. we know that we have lost control. And yet everyone, everywhere, is moving from self-hosting their data to hosting on corporate-controlled machines in gigantic centralized data centers, otherwise known as the cloud. But why is this happening? Well, because in many ways the cloud is great. While self-hosting comes with a whole host of problems, the corporate cloud offers easy sysadmin, data availability, and data resilience. For most organizations, this means moving to AWS, Google, or Azure. So whether for collaborative office software, data storage, or hosting, the benefits of moving to the cloud are undeniable. But where does that leave the cooperative movement? There are over 170,000 cooperatives in Europe alone, with a combined turnover of over 1,000 billion euros. Co-ops are organized along principles that conflict with aggressive corporate needs. Such principles include democratic member control, cooperation, and concern for the communities that they exist within. But imagine if we could have the best of both worlds. Imagine if we could have a distributed cooperative cloud.
The technologies exist, and Cobox will bring them together. Cobox enables a peer-to-peer cooperative cloud, and it comes with an inbuilt suite of privacy-aware data governance tools. Cobox is a simple plug-and-play server, and it comes with a pre-installed backend for running distributed applications and facilitating data replication. To form a cooperative cloud, each Cobox acts as a stable node within a peer-to-peer network. So in essence, the cooperative cloud is this distributed network of Coboxes. And on top of this, we can build a suite of applications that serve our cooperatives' governance needs. Initially, we will deliver a shared file system much akin to Dropbox, and later on our roadmap, we want to build to integrate decision-making and collaborative budgeting software. So this is what the Cobox will look like. In our community organizations, in our housing cooperatives, in our archive collectives and printing collectives, and on platform co-ops, we no longer have to rely on corporations to serve our organizational needs. With Cobox, we can rely on existing networks of mutual aid and trust to ensure our data governance needs.
Over the next 12 months, our team will build and launch an MVP together with 2 existing networks of cooperatives. They already know what it means to share resources and want to get away from losing their data sovereignty to the corporate cloud. Cotec and Norla are ready to adopt the cooperative cloud. Cobox will tap into these networks by addressing 3 of their principal concerns: everyday operational concerns regarding data integrity, ethical alignment of cooperative principles and practices with technical needs, and big picture concerns about data sovereignty. Together with Ledger, Cotec, and Norla, Cobox will build the cooperative cloud.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cobox. Love it. Yeah, so these were the 16 awesome teams that are going to rock this year with Ledger funding. First, do we have questions for the last 4 presentations? Because I have a question, but it's a bit spacey for Cobox, because I noticed, I really like your shirt. It says dismantle colonial borders, and it's interesting because, Fortress Europe, the creation of surveillance. And I like sort of the similarity of how you're moving towards a no-border, distributed way without surveillance based on mutual aid. And I really like this connection of, tearing down borders and going distributed. So, but yeah, this wasn't really a question. I was just talking, blah, blah. Please take me off this stage.
Dina, fantastic job. I think it's the time to thank you for being a great hostess, to thank the city of Amsterdam for making this possible, because by the means of the project we couldn't have had all the possibility that Pakast de Zwijger give us with this great space. And last not least, a fantastic team that we can count on at Dyne.org. And we are representing here, there is the main organizer and coordinator that is the mastermind behind everything that has happened in these 2 days, who is the man behind the camera standing up over there, Federico Bonelli, that, you know, Fred has herded us into a success, I will say, tonight. And Elena, who is here, that has coordinated all of you in a very swift, and I think she's more ninja than you almost. Our colleagues and mentors that have been active all this time, Alvise, Aspasia, Ivan, Parazid, that you have met, Sito, and I mean, you have seen some of the remote colleagues, you will meet them in the next session. Thank you for the applauses. Puria, who will see this video and will send us love, and Andrea, who will reach us also in the next event. And of course, the people behind the camera, Julie, who has been filming you really patiently all the time, and Victor, our director of photography, and Simone, our musician and photographer. And yeah, we really miss some music here, Simone. He's a great expert of Balkan Kleds, gypsy stuff that we really need to have right now with beers. So hoping I haven't forgot anyone, it's really emotional to be here. This is probably the biggest production that we have done with Dyne today, and we are proud in this year, in the last years, since we are based in Amsterdam, basically. And I think that we can be proud because it's not about us, and the spirit of Dyne is the spirit of giving a spin. Dyne is the unit of spin in Heraclitus, if you go read those Greek texts. And we really like to give a spin to new projects and to open up the field. This is not about world domination. I hope none of you dream of world domination. We are creating a community. We are creating a synergy between these projects. It's already happening. It's just the beginning. So stay with us, and you will see these projects progressing and evolving and blossoming. I like to end with the typical quote of one of the co-founders of Dyne, Gabriele Zaverio, known as Asbesto Molesto, 1,000 flowers will blossom. Thank you.
It's good. It's fine.
Yeah.